Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the PSGL E-Series. We're here for round number 4 of the season here in China. As you noticed, Dan is not here tonight, but we have the late show with Josh and Josh. My name is Joshua Davis, of course, and alongside me is the F2 commentator, Joshua Bush. Joshua Bush, sorry, excuse me. Joshua, how are we doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Josh. You doing good?
I am absolutely buzzing, mate. It's been so long. It feels so long since the last time E-Series was around, and the last time since we commentated together. It's beautiful to have it back. It is absolutely beautiful.
Really is. Looking forward to this one as well. And in a circuit that's sadly not on the calendar this year, but hopefully will be in the future. And basically, you've had the two Ronnies now. Oh, yeah, Jess has already got it. The two Joshies enforced that. Yeah, Jess already got them before me to make that joke. I'm going to be for a very long night about those as well, but I'm looking forward to it. 20 seconds till qualifying, full quali. Don't really get to see that in F2 much. Do see it in F1, of course, the E-Series too. China's a difficult circuit to get right in qualifying, so this is going to be a right good session. I can't wait.
Absolutely, as Chinese Grand Prix, of course, last year's all the way back in 2019 due to the COVID pandemic, of course. We had to scrap it off in 2020, and 2021 played host to the 1000th Grand Prix in Formula 1. Obviously, we're back here in the E-Series as well, which is absolutely fantastic. We'll run you through the lineups for tonight as well. Veloce Elites have chosen Harvey Cohen and Chan Akinci tonight. Williams Esports coming back with Alvaro Caraton and Shanaka Clay. He replaces Will Lewis tonight with FVR going with Modestro Mella and Nardi Perez for replacing F1 Ferrari. Drake Dempsey and Harlan Marquis is the lineup for TF10. Drake Dempsey making his return, his debut tonight for TF10, and Boilan Farrar and Isfan Pookie line up with Parnell Racing. Boilan Farrar's last race for Parnell, so I'm told, so massive good luck to him on his last outing for the team. Ika Baena and Cameron Dowds make their debut in RHG. Cameron having an absolutely stormer of a race in a debut in PSGL F1 on Wednesday night. With that podium, hopefully he can try and master up something tonight. Conor Muir and Leroy Brown at SRT, pretty standard lineup there for SRT, pretty much all the way through the season. A double pro draft lineup for Luke Smith and Patrick Sipos at Race Clutch, with Piotr Stachelek and Thomas Ronhart back at Haas F1 Esports, and Alexander Kraft and Felipe Souza back at VSR. Not many laps done there. Well, not many rounds up. Well, not really replaces at VSR there. And Josh, I think we are about ready for qualifying.
Yeah, they're heading out onto the track as well. Looks like they're all putting on the soft compound tyre as well, which is going to be fantastic to see. Usually, they like to run at least a lap on the medium to begin with, get their eye in, make sure everything's okay with their own setups, then bolt on the softs. But no, looks like we've got a bit of rain coming in because the clouds are starting to doom over here in Shanghai, so that's going to be fun if we get a wet quali 2, quali 3. So straight out there, all attack, and it's nice to have a going qualifying, a full format, and of course tomorrow we'll see the full format back when F1 do it in Bahrain.
Absolutely so. Obviously, F1 and F2, FP1 and FP2 already done this afternoon, this evening. Absolutely great to have F1 back, of course. Just running down the team standings, Joe, very, very quickly. I don't have it on me, unfortunately, but I will read them out for you. Williams Esports, 3 for 3 so far, 145. Place to Pioneers Racing's 107. Jack West getting his debut podium there as well. Veloce Elites sit P3 on 90 points, with Race Clutch in P4 and 88. Really, really close behind those two are. RHE sit P5 with 79, with Escarol Esports on 6 with 63. Team TF10 sits 7th on 59, with Haas in 47 points in P8. SRC sit 9th with 41. FVR sits at the back with 39, hoping to claw something back. And as we say that, Josh, Piotr Stachelek out there for the first time for Haas. Thomas Ronhart still in the pits, but that is because he is serving a qualifying ban.
Yeah, disappointing as well. To serve quali bans in a very tight, technical, twisty circuit that's difficult to overtake at in the first two sectors. But as you say, Peter on the lap, just coming down towards turn number 4 as well. Brilliant overtaking opportunity to send the car on the inside. And I don't know what it is about China, but I can personally, when I'm racing, I can never quite get it right. There's always a few little errors as well, mainly around 10, 8 and 9, which we're coming into here. But I think that's what the drivers love about it. It's a challenging circuit, and you love to hate it as well. It's that type of relationship, but it is so fast. And Harlan Marquez retiring from the session, as was normal. But yeah, it's a really good circuit, this, and I'm really hoping that we get a good, clean race as we come through. And now the long sweeping back straight away as well. Josh, this is where we can really open up the taps and let the V6 turbocharged engine sing at 8th gear.
Absolutely so, revving it out. There is Piotr Stachlik as he makes his way down to the final couple of corners. Braking very, very heavily onto the 100-meter ball, flick it in to the right-hand side, using that curb as much as possible. Let the car drift out to the left-hand side, all the way to the back. A little bit of a squabble out of the exit for Stachlik. Keeps it going into the final corner, on towards the coast. Be careful not to invalidate out of that final corner, across the line. 32.255 for Stachlik. And across the line, there goes Alvaro Carreton, immediately obliterating that one. We're into the 31s already. A 31.8 for the Spanish sensation. Schumacher Clay joins him on the sidelines as well in second place. Williams continuing their good form as well. 31.9 for Schumacher Clay. Conor Muir was P3. Istvan Pukki replaces him, our newest race winner in PSGL. Istvan Pukki with P4. Immediately replaced by Luke Smith in P3. And Patrick Sipos, who's been all over Twitter, going on about his lap recently. A brilliant lap it was, into the 30s, I think it was. Brings it up there 6 thousandths quicker than Alvaro Carreton. Gets the job done. 6 thousandths to Patrick Sipos. And Race Clutch seems to be doing a little bit better than last time.
Really is. There's a Ferrari just wide there through turn 1. I just noticed on the pictures, but looking fantastic then. So 131.890, 6 thousandths of a second separates the top two at the moment, but trying to calculate, it's like 11 thousandths, isn't it, that separates the top three. It's unbelievable coming through how close they can be. And coming through, I'm watching Harvey Cohen, you're watching Thomas Harvey coming through turn number 1 as well, swooping back through. Now his last lap time was a 132.666 as well, rising up as we look back then. Harvey Cohen down in 17th position. So they've done the bankers. Now we're going to see the really quick times come through. But I'm looking at the skies, Josh. I'm looking for little drips and drabs of rain to see if there's anything starting to come. And I'm starting to see little bits of rain on board with Thomas Harvey. He's down in there in 8 and 9, so I think we're going to get a wet session. So that might be Q1 already done.
Yeah, you can see there just on Harvey Cohen's perspective, the rain is falling. You can see there just behind him, that Race Clutch driver, I think that might be Patrick Sipos or Luke Smith. You can see him flashing. That means that it is raining on the track. So this might be a pretty premature end to Q1. 1 lap and go. We saw that at Zandvoort as well last time in Q3. A quick dash. We could have another wet session here in qualifying. So already, pretty much, that's going to be done and dusted. Nani Perez, Harvey Cohen, and Thomas Harvey out already in Q1. Harlan Marquis and Thomas Ron are obviously serving qualifying bans. Patrick Sipos getting the job done by 6 thousandths of a second. Only 3 minutes pretty much gone in Q1. And that's a pretty premature end there, Josh. But, you know, we'll go on to Q2, and it should be a little bit more feisty with a few more laps coming into play.
Well, I've heard of one-shot qualifying, but I didn't expect it in a 3 qualifying format. That was unbelievable. As well, yeah, Thomas Harvey, just watched him do a lap. He was really pushing hard coming into the last sector, but the rain was just getting too much. He was slipping and sliding, so disappointing for him. Harvey Cohen and Nadi Perez as well getting out. Leroy just made it, didn't he, by a couple of thousandths of a second. They both did 132.4s, but Leroy did a 6.4. And Perez did a 8.5 at the board. So just a couple of hundredths between them at the moment. And now we have to wait to see if everybody decides, yeah, let's retire and go on to Q2. Otherwise, Josh, it's our podcast for the next 11 minutes.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is indeed. A few people asking in the chat for the reason to the qualifying bans. It was for retirements on track for the TF10 drivers. I believe it was Max Vissel in qualifying 3, and it was Matthias Van Erven in the race for Haas, as the DRS has been disabled. So we are in full wet weather conditions. We're going to see a few drivers coming in for the intermediate tyres. I'm not sure if that's Chana Kinchi or Harvey Cohen coming out. It is Harvey Cohen. The signing for the dry tyres, I think that is. So maybe he thinks he can probably screech out a little bit if it's dry enough. I doubt he'll get 2 tenths anyway out of Leroy Brown. He's currently sitting on a 32.464. He's prepping the intermediates as well, alongside his teammate of Conor Muir. I don't see that going any quicker. Clay retires from the session. So does Carreton. I'm sure more will follow. I just think Harvey's doing it for the sake of it, just to see if it is going to try and get any better. Because there are those little bit of incidences, a little bit of weird moments on the game where you just sort of see the rain coming down, but it still says the soft tyres might be a little bit quicker.
Yes, Neil Hodgson would put it in MotoGP racing as well. It's psychological rain. You see it coming down, you see it on the helmet, but you still feel the same grip below you as well. So it's the same principle really for Formula One as well, even in esports. You see the rain coming down, but the grip levels are still there. You can still try and push harder, but so many people have already given up and retired from it. Respect to the people going on Inters to give it a go, and especially those on softs, but the track, I'm looking at it, it's getting worse in the third sector. The raindrops are now becoming rivers across the circuit. I don't think this is really going to be a competitive run. I think we'll be done in the next minute or so. We'll go on to Q2, whether that's a full wet Q2 or an intermediate Q2. It'll be very exciting, and if it is an intermediate that goes to a full wet, qualifying might become an 18-minute session, which was weird because it was supposed to be here for an hour.
Absolutely so. You can just see there, as you were talking about there, Josh, just the rain is just not working, and Harvey Cohen definitely knows that coming back into the pits, and it is absolutely pouring it down here in Shanghai. Harvey Cohen coming back to the pits to retire the car. Two SRT drivers, Conor Muir and Leroy Brown, prepping the intermediates. Not sure if they are going to go in or not, but that is definitely the end of Harvey Cohen's day for qualifying one. Nardi Perez as well retiring from the session. He is out of qualifying alongside Thomas Harvey. Leroy Brown just making it there by the skin of his teeth. We can have a look between the leaderboards there of our leader, if I can actually get it up on screen. There we go then. 6,000 it was between Patrick Sipos and Alvaro Caraton. 14 between Clay and Sipos as well, with Kraft 10th off alongside Luke Smith at 10th and a half. Luke Smith and Istvan Pukki very, very close there, about 3,000 between them. Drake Dempsey doing well on his debut in P7, about 2 3/4 slower than Patrick Sipos. Conor Muir about 3.5 tenths. Patrick Sipos is at 3.5 as well, as everyone retiring from the session. Parts from Conor Muir and Harvey Cohen, who I'm sure will follow later on. But for now, Josh, we have about 7 minutes of Fuller, as Harvey Cohen, the only one left on track.
Yeah, he's going to make us suffer, isn't he, Harvey? I think he's just going to leave us wait and talk about things for 7 minutes. Well, what do you want to hear from as well? Do you want to hear the time that I got stuck in Barcelona's commentary boxes and had to dangle from the side to get out of them? Do you want to hear about anything that you've done, Josh, in commentary?
Not a lot, to be honest, but well, let's have a little bit of a chat. Let's have a look how everything's going then. Barcelona, you got caught in the commentary box. What's happened there then, Josh? What's happened?
Well, it was 2019 testing, and I was just come off air. I apologise if people have heard the story before, by the way. I was just coming off air from doing a show because that year the second test wasn't broadcast. So I thought, oh, I'll go and do it myself and get some views, as one does. And I decided, oh, I'll go up to the commentary box. And I took the lift up with a friend of mine, right to the top of the grandstand, so floor 3. Where all the boxes are located, or is it floor 5? One of the two. It's where all the boxes are located. And one of them was open, which was great, so I'll go and have a look, and stood in a commentary box and looked out to the track, and the noise, I'm sure, as well, I know, George, you've been in the commentary box, we discussed it actually during testing, when he was on the watch long. The noise in the commentary box, it's remarkable how much the mics and the headphones actually do deafen it out, the soundproofing, because the boxes are very noisy. But when I decided to come back down, and there's a bathroom in that area of the grandstand as well. Just outside the commentary box, there's a bathroom, and then there's a vending machine with water in. So after I had a bit of water, a bit of nice freezing cold water, I decided, right, I'll go back down. Went down the stairs, they were locked, and you couldn't get down the elevator because you needed a key code. So the only way me and my friend could get out of the grandstand area and get back to where we needed to be was to hang over the edge of the grandstand where one platform goes to the other, with a massive drop to the bottom with nothing in between. So if you fell, you're on the concrete, and dangle down like Lara Croft or Nathan Drake, just sort of hang on the edge, Spider-Man jump down and hope you hit the right railing.
Unbelievable.
And my friend went down first, he got down, I went down, I thought, I can't feel the bottom here. So I was really like, I'm struggling here. So I let go, and luckily my feet hit the arm cone and didn't fall either. But there's worse ways to go than falling from a grandstand in Barcelona testing. But yeah, that's how I got trapped in the commentary box in Barcelona.
Unbelievable, as Harvey has decided to go out on the intermediates, which I'm sure won't help the drivers in the box, but hopefully it will for some people. But inspirational stories, of course, with Joshua Birch as always. But Harvey decided to go for an intermediate lap. Everyone's deciding to retire, but he's doing some practice on the intermediates, however.
Good. I think good for Q2. I mean, I was going to say I knew he was going to make us wait, but if it's a wet Q2 with Inters, this is going to be amazing reference for him to know how quickly he can push. And also, everybody else is going to be watching our coverage and looking at this and saying, oh, so it's wet there, you can push there. It's a good reference point for someone to go out there and sort of be a guinea pig. But it's a bit pointless to actually run a full lap on the Inters. I think this is just an exploratory lap.
Definitely so, and maybe hinting that we could have some rain as Harvey Cohen comes back into the pits, giving us a nice tour of the wet circuit here in Shanghai. Coming back into the pits, hopefully to retire so we can get back to qualifying 2, or come into qualifying 2. There he is, finally retiring, and we can get through into qualifying 2. We'll get the results for you up on towards the screen as soon as Harvey Cohen comes back into the box, and we can start qualifying 2 back up and running again. As there we go then, it is Patrick Sipos who did take the stance here in qualifying 1, getting the job done as it rained pretty much a quick door and dash out of the box as we get ready for the results to come back. As any moment now, they will appear on screen as if it is magic, trying to fuller in as much as possible. Please wait, and we will get the results in. But, well, it's a pretty decent idea for qualifying. Obviously, the wet's coming in very, very quickly. We're not going to even get a result screen at all. But we're going to go straight into qualifying 2, Josh.
Yeah, straight to Q2. I was expecting the results, but even the game's like, no. We've let everybody wait long enough. Let's just go. That's the one good thing you can say about F1 22. And it's properly raining now, so Inters I think would be the correct call here for Q2. And I'm thinking again 2 laps maximum push, because I think the track conditions are going to stay the same. So Inters, they want to save those. Yeah, 2 runs.
Absolutely. Intermediates and a few wet tyres actually coming on.
Oh wow.
Leroy Brown was attempting the intermediates and gone back to the wets. You can see it is pretty wet in the pit box. Yeah, you can see the puddles already happening. So it's rained pretty heavily all the way through our start of Q1 and into Q2. And this could be a pretty touch and go session here in the wets of Shanghai, Josh.
Fantastic. Exactly what we need. Wet quality will be good. And if it's full wet then for the entire session, that means we're probably going to be here for the 15 minutes, which is good because everyone's going to be wanting to go out in the best of the conditions. But at the moment, rain doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. So we'll get a banker lap, then we'll get a push lap. And these wet tyres, by the way, can take the punishment. They can do around about 42 laps without changing. So they are the long duration tyre. That's why they only get 3 sets per weekend. And the same translates over to esports as well. But I'll tell you what though, as I said yesterday in the F2 race in Singapore when it rained and we had some wet tyres on. Yeah, Josh, how can you tell this is esports?
You can tell? I don't know how can you tell, Josh. How can we tell?
Because the blue tyres are in use, the full wets.
Oh dear. Oh, here we go then.
If this was real F1, we'd have a red flag out right now and I'll be talking about pottery or something, trying to fall for 2 hours.
Thankfully, no red flags here in the game, which is always helpful. So we are run by the FIA, we are run by our own governing body, which is always nice. We don't have to apply with some stupid rules saying whatsoever. But Peter Stachek will venture out in the wets like a brave man, as we do in the esports side of things. And he will take the first venture out in China. And Josh, just take it away for a lap with Peter Stachek.
Out of the last corner then, keep on the accelerator revs and run down towards turn number 1. Now the unique thing about here in Shanghai is that the first 2 corners sort of linking together. So flick the car in, up towards the right, take a long apex, then slowly bring the car into line. As you're doing so, drop down from 5th to 3rd, tight apex in 2, then it swings round, 4th gear corner in the wet for turn 3, gently press the accelerator like lightly cracking nuts as well for Christmas as you head down towards turn 4. Heavy on the brakes from 8th gear. Yes, usually in the dry, now it's 7th in the wet to try and drop traction. 69 kilometers an hour, back on the power as well, gently as well. Look at the rear snapping as well, it's so hard. This is the trickiest part. 9 and 10 to flick the car in as well. The car wants to spin round on you at this point. The lateral load is unbelievable with 2 swaps dramatic from a left to a dramatic right. 2 corners back to back. Then this is my favourite section of the track because in the dry, you can take it full throttle. You carry the speed through. In the wet, you're seeing the dramatic slides. Up to 6th gear then at 270 kilometers an hour. Slamming the brakes around about 60 metres to go. Uphill as well. Now the long sweeping turn 11, which normally was designed to be similar to an oval turn 4 as well. Slightly banked, carry the speed through and then just get let loose down the straight. It's one of the longest straights in Formula 1. DRS only activated halfway down it as well. Engines sing at this point as well to reach maximum RPM before you all of a sudden have to thread the eye of a needle, slap on the brakes with 100 metres to go and literally hit a dot on the inside at the hairpin at turn 16. Rise up then through the exit 17, 18 the last corner, flick the car in towards the left again, ride the exit curb, but in the dry, stay away from it, you'll get spun off into the wall. Ask what happened to Pascal Wehrlein, drop downhill across the line, so 148.047 across the line. That's very good in the wet conditions. I can see that being beaten if the track gets a bit quicker later on.
Absolutely, already. Yeah, already Cameron Dowes beats that time. We're into the 47s on the wet tyres. I'm sure his father will be very, very proud of that one. Luke Smith going a little bit better. A 47.9. Leroy Brown already beating that one. Brilliant start for SRT. A 47.7 off the bat. Isfan Pookie with a 47.8. Patrick Sipos once again. 47.5. Alexander Kraft, a man who's been on incredible form. Almost 9/8 between himself and Caraton. A 46.7 for this man. Absolutely insane form in qualifying. Alvaro Caraton sits P2. Clay sits P3 with a 47.339 as everyone's starting to back up their tyres there. Patrick Sipos with a 47.5 as we've just mentioned as well. Ika Baena making his debut, of course, in the E-Series tonight for RHGs. He rounds the final corner, coming up towards the line, a slide out of the exit. It's going to cost him a little bit of time. He crosses the line, P4. He will take that every day of the week. 47.525, a little bit quicker than Patrick Sipos by 200ths of a second. Alexander Kraft, once again, flexing his muscles in qualifying.
Really is sort of just... He's been hitting the gym, hasn't he, for that sort of times in these conditions. 146.7 in the wet. Fantastic around here. And I'm just looking at Conor Mills' lap. He's lost out. He's invalidated his lap time as well. He's struggling. He's getting out of the way. There's a yellow somewhere for a little bit of a movement on the circuit as well. As our drivers try and get out of each other's way because they're either going for a cool-down lap to recharge the ERS and then go for another one, or they're coming in for another set of wet tyres, which is silly because the wet tyres will barely have any degradation at this point as well. So just keep going. Got 9 minutes, stay out there, fuel long, go.
Definitely. So you usually do see those double runs, and I think Conor Muir was trying that one. He's going once again. I think Ika Baena or Cameron Dowes is going again. He crosses the line now. He's 4 seconds down, so a little bit of some prep work going there. Leroy Brown going a little bit quicker, only 300ths of a second better though. Isfan Pookie does improve, however, goes up to P6 with 47.679. One of the Mercedes, that's Alexander Kraft coming towards the final corner. He was on a prep lap as well as that Shanaka Clay just behind. Yes, it is 800ths of a second so far, and only a 10.5 improvement, under a 10.5 improvement, still keeps in P3 as teammate Caraton comes into the box. As I believe there's Drake Dempsey coming around the final corner. Yes, it is for the TF10 team of Red Bull. Can't improve. He was on a little bit of a cool-down lap as well. Ika Baena invalidating his time. Juan Ferrer is right behind him, invalidating his time as well. 8 minutes still left to go, and it is still Alvaro Caraton by 0.3 of a second. Slow improvements, but not enough to mark a little bit of a change.
No, which is a bit disappointing, which means that the track temperature, well, the track conditions more like. I'm too used to just commentating on Bahrain, talking about track temperatures today, with the difference between the day and the night. But the track conditions obviously staying the same and probably getting slightly worse out there. Although from the pit lane, I can tell you, Josh, it is pretty much starting to ease slightly, but on the track it still puddles everywhere. So I think Q2 will still be wet. Hopefully maybe Q3 will get intermediates and start finger crossing there that we can get a good run. But right now, We've got 1:46.752 the time to beat, and nobody can climb up the mountain to get the golden goose for pole position to go through. But it's Q2, not Q3. No need to push if you're safe in the top 10.
Not quite yet. Colin Muir just can't seem to get it done. 4/10 off Piotr Stachelek in P13. He slots it into P14. I think that was Cameron Dow slotting it into P4. Yes, it was. 47.517, beating his teammates to P4 there. Relegates him to P5. Leroy Brown crosses the line as well. He was on a slow down lap. His Mercedes counterpart Alexander Crafts coming into the pits as well. Is that Patrick Sipos just behind the final corner? Yes, it is. 200ths up on his best. 1,000ths down out of the final corner. A little bit of a tank slapper. I think you saw just out of your picture. Svan Pukki going slowly as well. I think Drake Dempsey is following behind. Yes, he was. And it is a big improvement for Dempsey, a fourth place time, a 10th off Shanaka Clay. I'm sure TF10 will be licking their lips after that one.
Indeed, fantastic there from Drake, getting up into P4 as well. 1:47.302, fantastic time. Anybody going to brave the Inters? I mean, if you're inside, so if you're inside the top 8, don't bother. If you're below that, maybe think about it. And I'm thinking the likes of Connor as well, who's down in 15th. We know he's got better pace than that. Bolt on Inters, have a go, see if it's faster. But everyone seems to be just happy on the E4 wets. It's annoying when you can't accurately judge the conditions to go forward.
It is a pain indeed. Clay, little bit of a switch from the Inters straight back to the wets, just trying to catch everyone off guard on the engineering booth. But still fairly happy for the wet compound tires. You can see the puddles still quite clear to see. As you can see, Piotr Stachelek trying to push that car, that Haas machine, all the way through, but just getting those little slips now and then. The grip is still not there enough for the intermediates as well. Nowhere near the dry tires as well, as he flicks it back into the left-hander. This seems to be a quick enough lap for Piotr Stachelek to ride on board with him all the way through the lap. Another Tokyo drift out of the corner. We're in Shanghai. Mr. Stachelek getting the car nice and handled. 3/10 down, however, out of that lap. So I don't see him improving anytime soon, as we see a few more drivers coming out on track. Ika Baena has braved it out on a fairly fresh set of wet compound tyres. Only one lap done on those tyres, as we start to see a few more times coming down. Chanakinchi, however, is on a lap. Was on a lap. He's just about to start one as he runs the final corner. Chanakinchi about to start one on the fresh wets. 47.9 is his time so far. 4 minutes 30 seconds left to go. See if he can beat it.
Indeed, going to be bang on now as well. As everyone now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars out of the circuit, rest in pit lane. And Peter has come back into the pit lane. That's a disappointment. So make that 4 cars after the track now, as everyone else has typed in. Joshua Tyres, I agree with Avatar here. He says, I don't think everyone put set up for rain. Interesting.
Interesting indeed. We could have a sort, feel if it is dry for the race, which is probably why we're seeing a few people in the chat looking that we haven't seen any dry setups on. I think in the chat they're also complaining about the setups as well. Chanakinchi, however, will keep this lap going nevertheless as he heads up towards sector number 2. A little bit of a wobble out of the exit, just on and off throttle all the way through. The grip is just not there, and especially even in the dry, it's not looking good as well. 95 thousandths up on his personal best. Was purple in sector 2. Not sure how much I believe that one, as he rounds the final couple of corners on towards the back straight with Chanakinchi. The porpoising out of that final couple of corners, really clear to see. The McLaren bouncing up and down as he heads up towards the final hairpin in sector 3, braking hard for the 100-meter board. You can see the Alpine car. I think that might be Patrick Sipos or Luke Smith just behind him, prepping his lap. A little bit of a lock-up you can see there from that front right tyre. A little bit of a missed apex out of the final couple of corners. He flicks it out of the left-hander. What can he try and get himself out of Q3 into Q3? And it's P6 is enough. 47.360. Might want to check his bearings. I'm not sure if that's going to be safe.
No, I don't think it will be. The track's improving, so he's going to do it again. I was holding up 7 fingers to you on the screen there, Josh, to say I think he'll go P7. And he actually went P6, so he bettered his own improvement time. Thought Cameron might get a little move down. He's gone down to 7th now, 147.517. And it's now a question of who can brave it for 2 minutes and just do an absolute all-out go for a lap. Who's got it in them to say, okay, car's not in the correct setup, but we're going to absolutely push and see if I can just get a good lap out of this. Like, really take the Ayrton Senna style of it's wet, let's just go for it. Which I love to see, because you see it so many times in esports, people just going for it. And I think Alexander Kraft as well, he's not going to do anything. He's out of the qualifying, he's retired. Callaghan won't get out on the track, so that's another one gone. Shanaka Clay won't do a lap time, gone. So, yeah, people on the outlap going to have to push to get round before the minute's done. But everyone's in the pit lane with Peter Go is pretty much out anyway.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see laps from Shanaka Clay. He's staying in the pit lane. Won't see another lap from him. Leroy Brown and Drake Dempsey, Istvan Pukki and Piotr Stachilek on outlaps at the moment. They're all in the final sector. Bar Stachilek, who's just stuck in a little bit of traffic in sector 2, will stick on board with Cameron Dowd throughout this lap. He's a 10th up, just over a 10th up in sector 1, which is still going to be a P7 lap time. Currently on about a 47 for a high 47.3. Chana Kinchi, just in your picture, puts it up to P5 with a 47.244. One of the Alpines is about to cross the line. Is that Patrick Sipos? No, it's not. It's his teammate of Luke Smith. Did not go quicker. We'll flick back over to Cameron Dowd. Yes, he does. Stays 11th. And Luke Smith is on the cusp once again. Alpine and Race Clutch have a tendency to only go with one driver in Q3 and a few drivers in 11th place. A purple sector 2 for Cameron Dowd. 2/10 up so far. Could be looking at a low 2, maybe a high 1, which would put it into the shakes with Shanaka Clay and Leroy Brown as he heads out the final couple of corners into sector 3. Under the DRS boards in the dry would be in use, in the wet not at all, as he heads out the final couple of corners under the Rolex barrier, breaking up the 100-meter board. Everyone trying to improve their times as much as possible. Drake Dempsey just starting his one. So is the Aston Martin. I think that's Connor Muir just in front. So is the Alpha Tauri of Istvan Pukki. 3, 2, 1. Checker flag is now out. Final corner for Cameron Dowd. A pretty nice and tidy lap. It will put him into P4. 3/10 improvement of 47.195. That should be about safe. Patrick Sipos is next up. He's about half a second up on his time. He runs the final corner. Could see a low 47, a high 46 across the line. It's pole position. 46.713. He beats Alexander Krafts. A beautiful lap time from Patrick Sipos, who can pull it out the bag when you need him to. Patrick Sipos on the job. Istvan Pukki is next.
Tanakichi is also coming through as well. He's looking good in the first 2 sectors, but he's slow, so I don't think he's going to improve at all. 140 before he reaches the last corner. He's out of it as well. Great lap time from Cameron as well, Josh. Follow him, of course. I was commentating on F4, F3, now in F2. Did F1 the other day, and now doing esports. He's having great performances, and he's got a championship lead going on in F2 as well. He is one to be watching.
Absolutely.
Luke Smith.
Yes, absolutely. So, Luke Smith, just to interrupt you there, Josh, into P8, really on the cusp, however, as we see a few more drivers crossing the line. I think it's Connor Muir next up, currently in P12, can try and knock down Buelan Ferrer, who's currently in the drop zone, in the danger zone. Nika Baena is just behind as well, and Buelan Ferrer in his last race for par now, under the cosh massively. What can Connor Muir pull out the bag? Can he get into a 47-1? A little bit scruffy out the final corner, just about makes it 1,000th of a second. Buelan Ferrer is surely kicking himself there. Drake Dempsey goes a little bit quicker into P10. We cross him right about now into P8. Luke Smith is on the cusp now. All down to your new race winner, Istvan Pukki. P3 for him. Luke Smith is out of qualifying in P3. What an end to Q2 that was. Istvan Pukki pulling out the bag. The man who's on incredible form recently in league racing. Top 3, as we can see there. Sipos, Krafts, Pukki, Caraton, Brown, Dowd, Clay, Stachilek, Dempsey, Akinci, and it's Smith, Mena, Muir, Ferrer, and Baena out of qualifying 2, Josh.
What a fantastic end to quali for number 2. That was brilliant. Better than the anticlimax, obviously, of Q1. But brilliant from Drake Dempsey getting to P9. Disappointment for Luke Smith getting out as well. Yeah, as you said, only one Alpine seems to be focused in qualifying at the moment, and that's Patrick Sipos going top as well. 39,000s, 89,000s as well, separating the top three. Absolutely unbelievable as they continue to push. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Q3 coming up shortly. And I'm hoping it's intermediate. I don't want it to be full wets again. I'd like an intermediate run to see what more pace they've got and to give everyone a bit more freedom to explore track limit, not track limits, but more the track than one single line around the entire course.
We'll have to wait.
I don't get my wish.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see. We'll flick back over to our gameplay screen. It's still puddles in the pit lane. It looks like a river outside Mercedes, but we'll have to see if it does improve throughout qualifying. We'll see who is out first to venture out. I think it's one of the Williams. Is that Alvaro Carreton? Yes, it is. Just coming out for a venture onto the wet compound tyres, and you can see not a lot of improvement on track either with the wet. Still patches of puddles spitting here and there. Don't seem that we'll see on the intermediates in some time. I think that's Alexander Kraft. Yes, it is coming out for a venture as well, alongside Cameron Dowd as well. Everyone coming out for a lap as well. So making it through into Q number 3. It is the two Williams of Alvaro Carreton and Shanaka Clay, the lone Veloce of Chanakinchi as well, the lone Parnell of Istvan Pukki, the lone Mercedes VSR of Alexander Kraft, as the lone race clutch as well of Patrick Sipos, the lone Haas of Piotr Stachlek, and the lone SRT driver of Leroy Brown. And from the looks of that, it's only Williams who gets both cars into Q number 3, Josh.
Well, that's a surprise, but then again, Williams have been sort of at the amazement, haven't they, of the E-Series so far, as you said at the top of the show, Josh. And hoping we get to see a good fight for pole. Full wet tyres, though, are in option once again. And an update for Zagstar of GG says, what's happening, folks? Well, we've got 10 cars going for pole position in utterly wet conditions. In fact, I didn't know it rained this much in China. So we're going to have to wait and see exactly who's going to be running the correct setups. Parc Fermé starting, of course, at the start of Q1, which was curtailed. So now we're going to have to wait and see who's going to be quick and who's not. First lap times, they're coming out soon.
Absolutely. So we're riding on board with Alvaro Carreton at the moment. He's rounding the final couple of corners. Piotr Stachlek, you can see on his screen, hesitant to stay out of the box. So he's maybe thinking of something else. Maybe has to have told him something no one else knows, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll flick on board with Alvaro Carreton for a lap of the Chinese Grand Prix here in Shanghai, the Shanghai International Circuit. Of course, as he makes his way through turn 1 and turn 2, a wider line which flicks back in to a tighter one on the left-hand side as you make your way rounding the outside, keeping that car in a straight line as much as possible, going on towards the curves on the exit. A little of a wobble, nothing that will phase Alvaro Carreton. It's going to be a 27.9110 into sector 1, very, very late on the brakes out of turn number 5, I think that was, and that has cost him a lot of time there, you're sure to see. Into sector 2 then, usually flat or about 50% throttle in the dry, a huge lift through there in the wets as you flick it back to the right hand side of the track, flick it back towards the left for the double left-hander as you make your way under the sector 2 delta in a couple of meters time, fly it back into 5th gear, another wobble out of the exit, just those dry lines not working for Carreton. It's a 101.152 into sector 2. I'm sure we're going to see a little bit quicker times from there, especially in Cameron Downs if he's kept his lap clean in sector 2, right in the final couple of corners, which is so hard, even in the dry, in the wet, nigh on impossible. Alvaro Carreton pretty much got it down to a nail, down the final DRS straight in the dry as you head under the Rolex barrier as well. A lot of overtaking can be done here if you're feeling ballsy. Into the final couple of corners with Alvaro Carreton. Can he get his brake in nice and tidy? Yes, he can indeed. Riding towards the left-hand side of the track, on towards the curves, towards the gutters, back towards the right-hand side, flick it back to the left-hand side for the 5th gear action, on towards the curves. The DRS will hit you out of the final time. It's a 46.971 to beat. Not a bad time considering the circumstances. Cameron Downs is next.
Yeah, it's a very good time. I think that could be a worthy pole time. Let's have a look at Cameron. Been 1 in F2, then went on a bit of a spree with good results. 3rd in F1. And then he was 6th last night, but we'll get over that. 2nd fastest today, 1:47.405, so that's a very good time. But Cameron's still there. Shanaka Clay. And now Drake Dempsey. Well, the times are coming down thick and fast now. All in 146s. They saw it was possible in Q2. They're going for it now.
They absolutely are, flicking all the way through. Drake Dempsey on debut into the 46.799s. What can Patrick Sipos muster under the Hungarian sleeve? He crosses the line now. We see a 46.805, agonizingly close to Drake Dempsey. 6 thousandths of a second. 7 thousandths in it between those two, with Drake Dempsey on top with a 46.799. That is the end of your first runs in qualifying 3. Patrick Sipos not running away with it this time, but Drake Dempsey on the lower wings, as he's just tweeted about, getting the job done. A 46.799 to start off with. This is going to be a pretty tasty ride in these final runs, and we haven't yet seen Piotr Stachulek.
That's true. He stayed in the pit lane as well to let everybody else go out first. Drake Dempsey on top, 146.799. Couple of, 6 thousandths between the two at the front. Perfect lineup we've got coming, Josh. This is, how can I say it? I think we're going to have identical times.
We could do indeed. Patrick Sipos, 46.805, as you can see there, 6 thousandths. If we can only see those slight improvements, we might see a little bit better ones once the wet tyres start to groove in a little bit more. We could see a Jerez of 1997, if you remember all the way through those. I was about -10 if that, and -8 maybe, as Alexander Kraft gets into the lower sevenths there. We completely missed him out. 46.7 once again, showing VSR what he can do, showing the world what he can do. And Alexander Kraft getting the job done as well. Goes by the name of Corny as well. Alexander Kraft about just under a tenth off Drake Dempsey.
You can see my camera here, Josh. You know, I know that time off by heart. A 1:21.072 was the time that Frentzen, Schumacher and Villeneuve did, but it was Villeneuve got pole, Schumacher second, Frentzen third, because it was Villeneuve who did it first, Schumacher did it second, and Frentzen did it in the last second. Apparently, it was a true timing. It was the true times. Nobody did it on purpose, which is what I don't believe, because I think Bernie wanted a good show.
He always wants a good show, does old Bernie. A little bit of a nutcase at times. But, yeah, a little bit of a nutcase. I'm not going to say anything more of that. But Alexander Kraft still on the wet tyres, 3 tenths down. I think he is on a slow down lap. 4 minutes left to go in the session. Q3 is about to end. We're about to get ready for the race very, very soon. Piotr Stachulek still refusing to go out in Q3. I'm not sure if this is a tactic from Haas, unless they're thinking it's going to get drier, but I'm not sure what's going on. I don't understand it. Maybe one of you guys will help me out, but I'm not really understanding it very much.
Yeah, because at the moment it's just going to be a one run, isn't it? And in these conditions, that's pretty risky. If it was dry, I'd think, oh, that's a sensible call. But in the wet, you want to get your eye in, nowhere to go. Unless he's tweaking something in the Park Ferme setups.
Might just be, as the two Williams follow out as well. It's Van Pookie out first, with, I think that's Alvaro Carlos on first, with Shanaka Clay second. Yes, it is. Only 3 drivers out on track so far. Pookie in some great great form as well. A win in PSGL F1 on Wednesday. A win in WR as well. And could be on course for a hat-trick, maybe in the E-Series. And I'm sure I'll bring a huge smile on Liam Parnell's face and everyone back on the Parnell Racing team as he rounds the final couple of corners here in Sector 2. Heading into Sector 3, Kraft getting on a fresh set of the wets. Everyone on a fresh set of wet compound tyres as we go towards the final couple of corners with this Van Pookie. And I'm sure, Josh, as we've been mentioned all the way through, it's going to be a grandstand finish in this final part of Q3.
It really is. If you're anywhere but in your viewing area, make sure you pick us up, take you with us on the phones, just keep an eye on it. Don't go make the coffee just yet. We'll have around about 2-3 minutes to do that at the end of the session, because this is going to be quite entertaining, because everyone's spilling out on the track for one more lap, and then they'll all literally just sort of climb on top of each other, which could be an Italy 2020 situation, or was it 2019? 2019 situation, where they all just sort of don't want to go first, and everyone that day was the perfect example of a classic British gentleman. After you. No, after you.
After you, indeed. And something that's pricked my eye, Josh. Shanna Kinchi and Piotr Stachnik prepping the intermediates. I knew there was something up the sleeve of Haas. You can see those puddles starting to disappear in Sector 1. It was much less heavier than it was at the start of qualifying 3. And Shanna Kinchi and Piotr Stachnik, you never know, might just be the ones who top this by about a second. You never know. Istvan Pukki is out first, just over a tenth and a half up on his personal best. But I really are wanting to see Shanna Kinchi and Piotr Stachnik once they cross this line.
Give me inters on my car, keep me rolling. That's exactly what we're going to have right now. I reckon that if it's good, if it works, they could be in here for a good time. I'll take a look at them actually. They're not looking up on their outlaps. They look quite stable. I'm watching Anna Kinte right now, and it looks quite good out turn 5. Could be an inspired decision here.
It could be indeed. Some intel coming from McLaren and coming from Haas as well. Jonah Martins, the head engineer, of course, for McLaren Shadow, I believe. Obviously, should be helping out Shanna Kinchi all the way through this as well. Piotr Stachnik, I'm sure he's getting help from the Haas team as well. But we'll flip back over to Istvan Pukki as he heads up the final couple of corners in this lap. Not sure what his sector 2 times are. We'll have a look what his sector 3 times as he crosses the line. 100-meter board, you're going to be braking. Lock up on that front right. That's going to hurt him a little bit out of the final couple of corners. Keeps it rolling ever so slightly as he heads out the final couple of corners. Does he want to hit that curb a little bit wide on towards the exit curve? That's going to cost him a little bit. He crosses the line. It's going to hurt him no less though. 46.4. The track is really drying up here as here we go then. Cameron Dowds next. What's he going to do? He crosses the line now. He's on an outlap as we head over Shanaka Clay and Alvaro Caraton. Shanaka Clay. There you go. We're into the 40 time. We're into the 45s here, ladies and gentlemen. Shanaka Clay, 45.961. Here comes Alexander Kraft. He's on an outlap as well. We look over to Shanna Kinchi. 15 seconds he's got left across that line. If he wants to 7 the intermediates, he will get there. Piotr Stachnik in your distance is crossing the line now. 5 seconds to spare. Gets the job done. Leroy Brown, second place for SRT. What a lap from him. The checker flag is flying now. All laps are here, right now. 2 minutes 55 until we end. We're surely going to be done by that. Here we go.
It's only live once, that's the tagline of Sky F1 at the moment. This is only live once, and on unique end to qualifying. Time's run out, everyone is on a push lap, and the Inters are looking the faster tyre. Chanakinchi's only 9 thousandths off his own personal best time, but he's starting to gain time. It's drier in sector 2 and 3, so he could still get it down the back straight away. He'll have more grip to the technical corners.
He absolutely will. We'll have a look as he comes towards the line now. They'll be the last to finish, which could be the ones that set pole position. Patrick Sipos, who's been on form in qualifying 1 and qualifying 2, and all the way through this season. He crosses the line now to do a 1 minute 45.763. It's pole position so far for Patrick Sipos. Here we go then. It's Van Pukki. He's next across the line. He's about 3.5 tenths up on his personal best. He runs the final corner, keeping it valid. He crosses the line for par now. It's P2. Half a second, on his personal best. Cameron Dowds is next. The youngster from Haas. Pole position. How about that? Alvaro Caraton beats him as well. A 45.3 for him. Oh my goodness me. Drake Dempsey, P4 for him. Alexander Kraft is next as well. P3 for him. The incredible Chanakinchi on the intermediate compound tyres. Can he go any quicker on the McLaren? He crosses the line. P7. What about Piotr Stachnik? Can he get in and rustle some feathers? P2 for him. Oh my goodness gracious me. What an end to qualifying. You'll never see a better qualifying session than that in your life. Qualifying 3 heads over to Alvaro Caraton once again by about a 10.5 to Piotr Stachnik on the intermediates. Shanaka Clay is P3, Kraft is P4, Cameron Dowds, the youngster from Haas, is P5, Drake Dempsey P6, Sipos is 7th, Akinci 8th, Pukki 9th, Brown in P10. Josh, my mind is blown.
Unbelievable! What a qualifying! 6 different pole sitters by the time they cross the line. Absolutely fantastic. I do not believe what we just saw. And what a lineup we have for the race that gets underway shortly. This is going to be unpredictably predictable. I'll sit down now, and I'm very glad I'm sitting in a GTO Mega chair that can handle the tension I've got in my back right now.
It absolutely can indeed. We're about to get ready for the race as well. Unbelievable. Dry skies are upon us. We'll flick back over as soon as possible. And we can see there, if you have just missed qualifying, where have you been? As we'll get up the grid right about now. Carrots on, starts on pole position with Statschlik for Haas in P2. Shanaka Clay sits P3 with Alexander Kraft in P4. Cameron Dowds, the 13-year-old from Haas, is P5 with Drake Dempsey in P6. Patrick Sipos sits P7 for Alpine. Shanakinchi is P8 with this Van Pookie in P9. Leroy Brown sitting in the top 10 with Luke Smith in 11th. Pedestrian Menet sits P12 with Conor Muir in 13th. Boilan Ferro is 14th. Ika Baeno is 15th. Nadi Perez is 16th. Harvey Cohen is 18th. Thomas Harvey for debut is 18th. And Harlan Marquis and Thomas Ronha with qualifying bands sit 19th and 20th. And Josh, very quickly before we go, who is going to win this Grand Prix?
I'm going to go Luke Smith. 11th on the grid, could do a comeback here. And I'll tell you what, you just taught me something there. I didn't know you could do that. Look at the grid before the start. That's something me and Richie can do next. Here comes the lights, though, for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Here comes the lights indeed. We're going to get ready in 1 second time. The cameras are rolling. The lights will come on right about now. The action begins right here for the PSGL series here in China. They go out and we're racing in Shanghai. It's a good start from Alvaro Caraton, already getting the jump on Piotr Statschlik off the lights. Immediately leads into turn 1 with Piotr Statschlik and Alexander Kraft getting a good start away from Shanakinchi. Heading up into turn 2 then. He's got the inside line, trying to force the Spaniard off a little bit more to get the better line. Round the outside they go. Clay is having none of it as he flicks back to the inside. Side by side they go. P3 and P4. And Shanaka Clay just has the better exit with Piotr Statschlik waiting in the wings. Is anything going to go for it down here? Shanaka Clay looks to the outside, all jostling and bustling out of the final couple of corners. Shanaka Clay is still there, but there goes Kraft for P3 for VSR. Round the outside he will go once again, side by side between the Williams Esports driver, and they're heading up towards the line with Alexander Kraft. Forces out the experienced Clay. Round the outside he will go again, a little bit caught out on the traction. Side by side they go, they're 3 wide almost as Clay. There goes Clay trying to get the force jump, a little bit out from Boilan as well, but it's Caraton who leads. Statschlik is P2, Clay's P3, Kraft is P4, battling with Sipos in P5. What a start!
Side by side for 3/4 of the lap. It's not an easy thing to do in Shanghai. They're still not over it. Cameron Downs getting involved in that too. Down the back straight away. Look for the back as well because Harvey Cohen's battling with Conor Muir further down. Here they come in there into the braking zone. Cameron Downs on the inside. Luke Smith has made a great getaway and they're trying to go low on the brakes as well. Slamming down.
Oh no!
On the outside, there is still more contact.
There's contact everywhere. You look a little bit of battling between the two Alpines, can you believe it? And now Akinci having to go down the inside. He goes on Cameron Downs. They're all battling away here. What a start to this PSGL series race here in China. It's Caraton who leads still. Everyone on the hard apart from Harvey Cohen on the medium compound tires, and they continue to battle all the way through. There goes Pedestrian Menet as well, all the way around the outside of everyone. Down the inside he goes on Cameron Downs as well. So close. Muscles his way back up to P8. They're still side by side, but there we go. It's Pedestrian Menet getting the job done all the way through on the breakaway. He's looking back again.
That's going to be a risky one, but he's wants to get the outside. Look at that! Snap him over steer. Almost went twist of Van Pookie. Cameron's going to try and hold it right around the outside in turn 9. Trying to go offline. He's still there. And look to the back as well. That's Thomas Ronha back up into 10th position. Past his Van Pookie round the outside to turn 9. And now, right on the back of Cameron Downs.
You cannot out-to-date Ronha as well with all the criticism he's had later on. He's gone from 20th to P10 in 2 laps, ladies and gentlemen. The youngster from Holland is hungry for this victory for Haas. With a qualifying ban, he decided to serve for the team because of Matthias van Erven's retirement on track last time out at Zandvoort. Had to pay the price, currently in P10. Looking, however, on Cameron Dowds, heading into the final couple of corners then. Thomas Ronha in the slipstream. Does he want to have a look? Does he want to make that move? Does he have to make that lunge? Not quite yet, still quite happy, but look in the distance there. Harvey Cohen having a look down the inside of Drake Dempsey. Side by side they go. Contact ever more. They just about survive, but it's very brutal in the middle of the pack. Shanaka Clay, everyone getting fastest lap is currently Kraft with 36.187.
And everyone looks like they're standing still as Ron Hart tries to come on the inside of Downs in towards turn one. Didn't work out there. This is unbelievable. And Dempsey's ahead of Ferrer now, but they've swapped back positions. Ron Hart goes on the inside line, deals with Cameron Downs. Now tries to go around the outside to the left-handed turn three. Doesn't pay off. Now it does with the traction coming out of the corner. Cameron got a punch from behind from Esteban Puki to sort of stop him from attack. And now Ron Hart's up into 9th position. And Cameron's down into 11th place now. Lost out to Esteban Puki. And actually, he's now battling with Harvey Cohen still. Now he's on the inside. Puki's going wide. Cameron's on the inside line. The camera goes out playing with me here to try and see where they are. There they are. Puki's on the inside line. Trying to get back together. Cameron's going to have to keep on the inside line. So close to contact, but he has the racing line. He's going to have to give him room, Esteban. And now Cameron can have more confidence to just close him off into the braking zone. Esteban still trying to go around. The hand comes up and everything. And I think Esteban now realises he'll have to do it on the straight.
Absolutely, as Harvey Cohen makes a mix out of that. Down the inside, he goes on both of them. Look at that from the youngster on the McLaren development team. What a move that was for Harvey Cohen. Gets the job done. The DRS is now working on lap 3. Yes, there you go. Esteban Puki. The job is done on Cameron Downs. Not enough there on Harvey Cohen as Thomas Bonhar going a little bit deep there, trying to battle with Minestra Mena that might open the door for Harvey Cohen in the later laps. But oh my goodness me, can you believe these opening 4 laps? Luke Smith now holds it at 35.944 on the hard compound tyres. We'll flip back up to the top of the order. Caraton still leads with Piotr Stachnik in P2. Shanaka Clay sits P3 with Alexander Kraft in P4. Sipos is P5. Luke Smith in P6. Chanakinchi sitting P7 as you'll sit in their personal DRS zones. Harvey Cohen sort of losing out to that battle as there's a little bit of a gap from 1st to 9th and 10th to 20th as he flickers all the way in through and through as we get to the pit stops. Probably going to assume around 18 to 20, maybe a little bit later, depending on how these guys pull their tyre wear together. Alexander Kraft plugging away. 3.5 tenths is his to Shanaka Clay. We're still battling further down. Leroy Brown and Drake Dempsey.
They're still battling it out, isn't he? Drake's dropped into 15th position. Now he's now 16th. Leroy's through the inside. Moore's going to have him too if he's not too careful, but Drake's still battling together to try and get back ahead. So it's getting close, it's getting fun. IndyCar's just started on one of the TV pictures, so that's why I looked a bit alarmed. If you saw me, Josh, I looked up because I suddenly heard all the cars revving up. Realised my fader was up. Anyway, down the back straight, I don't think we're going to see any difference here from Drake with the DRS into the braking zone for turn 14. He's closing, closing, closing. 5% ERS. He's going to go for the move. He is very low on the brakes to get back ahead of Leroy. And he outbrakes himself and almost went to the back of Nardi Perez.
That was very, very close indeed. Maybe a bit too late on the brakes for Drake Dempsey. Not going to work this time around. We get the telemetry up for you. Harvey Cohen, a 35.411 for him is the quickest time so far. There's battling everywhere you look, ladies and gentlemen. You can't pick a fight anywhere you look. Everyone within the same DRS train as everyone else. You can see the snake forming all the way from turn number 4. Alvaro Caraton still leads this quite progressively. 4 tenths is the gap between himself and Piotr Stachnik. Williams have a 100% win record here in the PSGL series so far with 100% attendance. We just said Caraton with 3 and Shanaka Clay with 1 last time out at Zandvoort at the Dutch Grand Prix. Alexander Kraft doing incredibly well in P4. Got a penalty last time out at Holland with contact with Conor Muir at the start of the Grand Prix, and currently sat in P4 legitimately this time with Patrick Sipos, the young Hungarian for the Alpine Esports driver, currently hunting down his neck. I'm sure is not a very comfortable position Alexander Kraft would like to be in so far. Caraton still plugging away, but so far we've seen absolutely everything almighty, but Caraton still happy to plug away, and Peter Stachnik still happy to stay with the DRS and not try and bolt away too yet. 50% ERS on the Haas, and about 92% of full battery for Alvaro Caraton.
Pushing hard now on that 5 for 28. This is going to get very dramatic. Of course, we've still got pit stops to think about. Harvey Cohen's going to have to come in first. He's starting his race on medium compact tyres, so he's going to be out of sync with the rest of the field, and he'll be on the hards later on. So he's trying to get as high as he can and hope for a safety car, basically. because it's a different strategy, and I don't think it's working. I said this last night, Josh, in the F2 race at Singapore. I'm getting a bit annoyed as the fact is hard tyres seem to be the mandatory at the moment, and we're not getting racing because of it.
Yeah, you see that all the way through this game. So we had on F1 2020 and I think 21, to be reminded, you have that pretty much staple soft medium strategy that's all changed pretty much now to the hard medium or medium hard. A lot of drivers tend to go with the hard medium, just seems to be the better strategy nowadays. Get the sort of slower tyre out of the way first and then really push on the mediums with about 10 laps to go. It flickers out of the way on the first stints, but once you get to the second stints, you see absolutely action coming alive at you left, right and centre. Thomas Ronha, we've seen in the chat, currently P9, started last in this race due to a qualifying ban from his teammate Matthias van Erven last time around. Currently sitting in P9. We'll flip on over to the Haas F1 Esports driver right about now. Still pretty happy to sit in the pedestrian in a slipstream. Still happy to see in the DRS. To the back there goes Harvey Cohen as well. On the mediums, a little bit of a lock-up on that front right. Keeps it nice and tidy, however, out of the final couple of corners as Patrick Sipos starts to turn the gears up a little bit more as he starts to close it to Alexander Kraft, as Kraft is to Shanaka Clay as well. The DRS will help him through that one as they head up to lap 7 of 28. Still 20-odd laps still to go. Still a lot more action still to come.
This is where we start to see tiredness start to creep in, 7 laps in, but at Shanghai it does start to feel, because it's a technical track and you're concentrating so much and you start to have lapses and then you've got to get yourself refocused. It's happened to me in this circuit before where I've done about 3 or 4 laps without even realising I've done 3 or 4 laps. You get so in the zone as well and focused, you become one with the car and you're literally just guiding. It becomes muscle memory for a few laps. Then you get distracted by something and it just takes a couple of seconds to become self-aware again, and then you start to make mistakes. And that's what we see creeping in the first 8 laps of this race. Everyone gets in the flow, everyone gets relaxed, and then bang, something distracts you, you've got to do all that work again. And the flow of these eSport drivers is very important as well to get right. Does that make sense then?
It does indeed, absolutely, Josh, as you can just have to keep in that flow all the time. You can just see all the way through. You see in the F1 Esports Pro Series as well, you see it in PSGL F1 as well. Everyone within the same pretty much 10th second of each other all the way through. You can just see there, you can see that everyone in the same DRS between first and about P11 there. You can just see how close it is. It's brilliant to see. It brings out the racing all the way through, which is sometimes, you can see better, that the esports is sometimes better than the real life F1 real deal. Absolutely so. This is why we absolutely love it, which is why we turn up on a Wednesday night and a Friday night to watch the F1 and to watch the E-Series as well. Thank you all as well for tuning in to take your Friday nights with us for the PSGL E-Series. It's Caraton leading the way with Piotr Stachnik in P2 within a Williams sandwich with Shanaka Clay in P3. Alexander Kraft, however, really plugging away though on Shanaka Clay as well, with Patrick Sipos in P5. Luke Smith, his teammate, in P6. Karen Chanakichi 7th, Pedestrian Mena 8th, Thomas Ron, who started last in P9, and Harvey Cohen, the only man on the mediums, in the top 10.
Perhaps went a little bit wide there coming through turn 5, and he's looking a bit out of shape actually coming to the middle half of the sector. So that's what I was on about concentration starting to just fade after a couple of laps. And you have to sort of have a mental region. That's why the pit stops are good, because you just get a 30 seconds or so, breathe, relax, get yourself focused. And then really be able to have a drink as well, literally just alongside them. Which you don't get to use in the race.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have those. Well, some people decide to take drinks on in the esports. It's a little bit difficult, probably a little bit easier in real life. You have that button to click on. You can have the drink anytime you want, but we'll flip them back over, however, because Patrick Sipos is about to make a move. Yes, he is, on Alexander Kraft, and might have a look on someone else as well. There goes Kraft trying to hang it around the outside, but nothing doing, and has to admit defeat. And the experience of Patrick Sipos powers through, and he's up into P7 for race clutch. And now it's time for Alexander Kraft to sort of keep his head down, follow through Patrick Sipos, keep up that time lost a little bit. It's about a 10th they've lost to Shanaka Clay, and just carry on and pushing along.
Not very realistic though, because if that was the Mercedes last year down that back straight in Shanghai as well, it would have been bouncing up and down so much as well. It would have quit like a sprint event.
Yeah.
But down to 5th, Patrick up to 4th. Slow moves now. This is what we keep having as well with the hard tyres being the dominant tyre. Everyone's running the same on the same degradation, so we're just waiting for pit stops for different overtakes and everything happens in the pit stops. This is what happened in F1 2005 when they had the one tyre rule. There was no overtakes on track then, it all happened in the pit lane, so they had to change it. And the fact that Michelin sort of destroyed F1 in the round. Still, we gloss over that.
Yeah, he had those interesting races 2005. I believe it was at the US Grand Prix, that scandal there. Of course, you've had your controversy in Formula 1, if you had your controversy in F1 esports as well, all the way through, everywhere you look. There's something new every day, but we're here for absolute respect, obviously, in the chat. Thank you all to our moderators for keeping everything respectful, keeping everything on the nail, and thank you all to watching as well, and keeping it respectful and enjoying our brilliant racing. As Alexander Kraft is brilliant to crush here, because Luke Smith is about to overtake Alexander Kraft as well, following through with race clutch. I'm sure there's a little bit of team management going on. Kraft braking later, Luke Smith down the inside. They're still side by side. Kraft keeping that position going, aggressive but fair. And Alexander Kraft is determined not to lose his P5, wants to keep this going, and Luke Smith is going to have to try another day.
Very good there from Luke, trying to have an attack on it. And Alexander just perfectly using the ERS, timed as well, the exit the corner, in the burst button, got ahead. I noticed as well that Luke did the same, but he reacted about a second later as well, so it didn't really work too much. So Alexander Kraft lives to fight another day in P5, but I did say my pick could be Luke Smith. He was 11th on the grid, already up to P6 now. Stop him getting further up the field.
Absolutely not indeed. Race Clutch and Alpine really looking for those better results indeed. Obviously had a little bit of a rough start to the season at Imola, and obviously France was a little bit better. Zandvoort had its positive and negative. We're definitely looking towards Patrick Sipples and Luke Smith, who've definitely been their shine performers for Race Clutch this season. Got their best results, obviously, and of course their two pro drivers in F1 esports as well. Patrick Sipples currently leading P4 to Luke Smith in P6. A little bit of a gap, with a little bit of a sandwich between Luke Smith and Patrick Sipples, with Alexander Kraft sitting P5. Luke Smith might be a little bit too far away to try Alexander Kraft this time around, so he might just sit in the slipstream and in the DRS for everything to happen above him. He heads up towards the line, and look at that, Alvaro Caraton already breaking the DRS to Piotr Stachlek in P2, as Ronha up into P8, Schnackerklay plunging as well. Ronha up into P8, gets past pedestrian Mena.
That was good, because Modesto was holding him up for several laps as well, so I mean, it's things like that that make you think, well, everybody was saying about Ron Hart, he was stuck behind him for about 5 or 6 laps there. Do you really think that's a possibility? No. So he's a very fast driver, Thomas Ron Hart. Very impressed. He's up to P8 now. Great move there as well on Modesto Mena. Planned that down the straight. Got the overtake. Used some of his ERS power too. He was on 67%, I noticed, a couple of laps ago. Now he's on 13. So good run there from Thomas. Back up now. Now he's going to try and challenge him for the top 5 again.
Absolutely so. It's just in our picture. Schnackerklay makes it a Williams 1-2 once again, getting past Piotr Stachlek, who just seems to be struggling a little bit more on those hard compound of tyres. Piotr Stachlek down to P3, of course. He's got Patrick Sippos for company just behind him, which is not an easy task to the slightest. Alexander Kraft sitting P5, Thomas Ronhart on P8, but he's very, very low on his battery, using a bit to try and get past pedestrian Mena. He was stuck behind for that good 4 or 5 laps, as you said, Josh, and just trying to recover some of that, just trying to get past as many people as possible. His next target, of course, is Shanna Kinchy for P7. Crucial that he keeps the strategy going. He has to have it perfectly here today if they want to win this Grand Prix with either Piotr Stachlek or Thomas Ronhart indeed. As they head up towards the final couple of corners into the final chicane, we flick on over back. There goes Patrick Sippos on Piotr Stachlek, and Sippos gets onto the podium. But here comes Stachlek as well, just in the distance. Not a great camera. We head up to the DRS line. Here we go then with the DRS with Piotr Stachlek. Schnackerklay with the fastest lap of 35.269. Sippos is through once again. The DRS is in play for this one. Sippos up into the podium spots.
Very good. Good move. This is what we like to see. And also the sun's starting to break through as well, so that'll rise the track temperature, making it a little bit easier for the tyres to breathe for a couple of laps as well. Our tyres work best in cold conditions. No, warmy, colder conditions as well. Soft tyres are the one you change over for wet conditions because they take less time to generate heat. better duration of tyres with a lot more rubber in them, harder compounds. I'm just happy we don't have to explain C0 yet, Josh. That's going to be difficult. But look at this, Pietro, he's going right up there. Is he going to go into turn 10? What about it? Got locked up the curb.
Might do indeed, as Alexander Crafts as well, looking on Piotr Stachlik as well, just losing so much pace in that Haas car so far. Those tyres probably not sitting happy on that car, and this should be a fairly easy move for Alexander Crafts. Down the inside, the DRS is there using a little bit of VRS, and that is stealing candy from a baby Alexander Crafts, and the easiest moves he will make all season. Down the inside, gets the job done. Craft up into P4, Thomas Ronhaar still on the back of Tranakinci as further back as well for P10, Harvey Cohen and Istvan Puki. I think we were saying there, Josh, side by side as there you go. Harvey Cohen, the first one into pits, obviously on the medium compound tyres. That could have got worse than it probably looked.
Had to come into the pit lane there. His tyres are 12 laps old. He wants to pit to go longer. So presumably he'll go into the hards now. And does indeed. Hard tyres on for Harvey Cohen.
Hard tyres for Harvey Cohen to go until the end. We'll see what he can do in the latter stages of the races. Stranaka Clay crawls back that advantage to Alvaro Caraton. You can just see Piotr Stachlik just wasn't having any of it on Alvaro Caraton as his tyres just start to degrade and degrade. I wonder if Haas might be prepping for an earlier stop, or unless this might be a play to try and get Thomas a little bit higher up the field, but we'll have to wait and see. Caraton and Schnacke Clay lead a Williams 1-2. With Patrick Sipos in P3, Alexander Kraft sits P4, Piotr Stachlik here in P5. Luke Smith in P6 will flick over to Thomas Ronhaar as he's battling with Tranakinci in P7, himself in P8. We could see a move coming up to the next Sanders as he is closing and closing and closing on this McLaren Shadow F1 Esports car. Heading into the DRS straight, does he have enough of an advantage? Does he have enough low wings to try and get past the McLaren? They're going to go side by side. Tranakinci will go defensive. Thomas Ronhaar, a switcheroo from the Haas man. What a move there for Thomas Ronhaar. You could not see that coming. Look at that from Thomas Ronhaar. Slips and slides. Thomas Ronhaar up into P7. Luke Smith pits. Ronhaar up into 6th. Piotr Stachlik, his teammate, is next.
Beautiful, beautiful switchback. That was perfectly timed. Right in the braking zone. Caught everybody by surprise. And brilliant. Thomas Ronhaar to P6 as well. 13 up old tyres. Now the pit stops start coming into play. Medium compounds now for Ika Benea as well. Oh no, he's gone through. So it's Luke Smith and Kinchi have taken over. And Drake Dempsey now in. So they're onto the mediums. So they'll have, what, 2 laps older than everybody else towards the end? But they're about 20, 30 seconds behind. So we'll see if they get the overcut they want.
They're going to have to hope and pray indeed. They come in first, and it's all down to see what their race pace is like for these next 3, 4, 5 laps. Early pit stops is what I was expecting. Is what I unexpected from the hard compound tyres runners, especially from Luke Smith and Tranakinci. Obviously losing that position to Ronhaar, maybe probably checked his mind a little bit more. We'll see what the Williams drivers and Patrick Sipos will do now. I'm sure Caraton will come in first as he's the lead Williams driver, so Schnacke Clay will go 1 lap longer, or maybe even longer than that. We head up to the final couple of corners. We'll go for it this time around to try and cover Luke Smith out of this pit lane. We head up to the final corner. Here comes Alvaro Caraton heading up to the final corner. Does he stay out 1 more lap, or does he come in? He's going to stay out 1 more lap, and I think everyone else is going to as well, and probably is the right decision. But actually, Piotr Stachlik decides to call him in early and thinks it's the end of the road on the hard compound tyres. So does Boilan Ferrer. Onto the mediums they go.
So just past halfway, now we're going to see undercut v overcut. And at Shanghai, it's the overcut that has a strong advantage. But I'm just looking, Luke Smith's already at the back of Harvey, which is good. As we see coming to the pit lane, more cars for medium compound tyres. Back at the front though. It's getting strong, 4-way fight. 2 Williamses. We've got the Alpine, and Thomas Ronhaar's now joined in nearly at the fight, isn't he? He's closing 2.1 seconds back, almost 3 seconds before, so he is gaining. But the Mercedes of Alexander Kraft is 7 tenths back. So it's a 4-way fight at the moment with Ronhaar closing in dramatically.
It absolutely is indeed. Thomas Ronhaar about 2 seconds back on Alexander Kraft so far, chopping and changing all the time, almost about a 10th per sector, just a little bit below that. We head out to the final couple of corners. Thomas Ronha obviously pushing on those tires, but doesn't seem to look like it. He is closing in on Alexander Kraft. We'll flick on over to Shanaka Clay as well, with battling from his teammate Alvaro Carreton, trying to suck him through to try and catch up or try to get away from Patrick Sipos in P3. We fly over to the hairpin. To the right-hand side we go with Shanaka Clay. Will they decide to come in this lap to try and plug away? We saw Luke Smith get past, I think it was Luke Smith, and there we go. It's a double stack. Is that a double stack? No, it's not, sorry. It looked like it. Yes, and there you go, Shanaka Clay, 3-second penalty. That's in the pit lane. That, I believe, is probably going to be a little bit rubbish there. That could be looked at the end of the race, because didn't see anything malicious in that one. He was coming into the pit. Shanaka Clay, though, with a 3-second penalty, might have a look at the end of the race, though.
Yep, so in they come, Mercedes in 2, and they all get out cleanly. Luke Smith's at the fast end of the race. Now we get to see undercut the overcut. I don't think it's worked out that much. Times we need time to overtake. Luke Smith goes in 10th position, takes the net lead of the race. So it does work, but only for him, the undercut. Overcut worked out majority of everybody else.
Absolutely so. Luke Smith got a second, 1.2 seconds on Shanaka Clay from pitting earlier. That is surely going to raise the eyebrows of Alvaro Carreton and Thomas Ronha. Something happening at the back.
Yeah, we've got the Alexander Kraft and Pincher Sainz just making a little bit of contact together towards turn 5, getting very close together as well. They're just about holding it as the Ferrari's gone wide of Nani Perez up at the front. Sorry to keep moving around, but he's gone wide and he's struggling with his tyres. So the hards are going off, and we need to really see as well. I've lost out where Thomas Ronha is on my screen. Now he's dropped off mine.
He's currently P2 there, 4.3 seconds back on Alvaro Carreton. There we go. We'll have a look at the leaders gap from you there. It's currently Luke Smith, 22.9 seconds back as one of your dispatches of Nadi Perez as Alvaro Carreton, your race leader, comes in. Thomas Ronha stays one lap later and currently takes the lead of the Chinese Grand Prix. We have a look because we ride on with Luke Smith now. He's coming out the hairpin, currently stuck behind Thomas Harvey. This could be a little bit interesting between himself and Alvaro Carreton. We ride the final corner. Harvey stays out. Luke Smith obviously is going to follow. Here comes Alvaro Carreton coming out of the pit lane now. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. Who is going to fall out better? I think Carreton just goes through, and with the traffic from Luke Smith, hasn't helped him at all and has lost out to Alvaro Carreton. But with the colder tyres, Carreton is going to struggle. Luke Smith is probably going to get this move done into the next corner. He's going to pull onto the left-hand side. Round the outside he will go. Carreton does have not those tyres up to temperature yet. Round the outside goes Luke Smith. Carreton's going to fight it. Side by side they go. Luke Smith with the better traction. The warmer tyres. Job's done. Luke Smith takes the net lead of the Chinese Grand Prix, and Alvaro Carreton is going to have to hope those tyres warm up as quickly as possible. He currently has the net lead. Ronha is in the lead so far. I'm expecting him to pit this lap.
Absolutely fantastic from Luke Smith. He's timed this all to perfection. He's got it well done. Shanaka Clay as well in 7th position with Patrick Scherf just behind. They've been in a battle together. Alexander Kraft joining the back. So we've got a big fight for the podium. Side by side as Shanaka Clay goes up into 6th position ahead of Inca Baneo as well, who's gone down to 7th. And now everyone's playing the DRS train. Everyone's trying to go through. Ronha's got a penalty in the pit lane. The same one. Another penalty. 2 penalties. That's up the inside. Patrick Scherf makes the move on Inca Baneo and gets through, forces him off the track. Here comes Alexander Kraft as well. Round the outside the last corner and gets it done. And Baneo says, that's it, I'm into the pits.
Absolutely so, and I'm sure that's going to be removed as well from Thomas Ronha and as well Shanaka Clay. 2 interesting penalties out of there, and Harvey with a speeding penalty as well. That's probably not going to be looked out there, but definitely so. It's going to be interesting to see if Shanaka Clay and Ronha can get those penalties removed. My answer is probably going to be about 99% yes, as nothing cutting there, just coming into the pit lane. Shanaka Clay will get that removed as well as Kraft closing in on Patrick Sipos. Not enough, but Luke Smith currently has the net lead. Yellow flags somewhere. Not sure who that might have been for. Might have been Thomas Harvey coming out of the pits, but Luke Smith currently has this net lead with Alvaro Carreton 4th, Shanaka Clay sits 5th, Sipos is 6th, with Kraft in 7th, Statchek is 8th, Shanakinchi 9th, Manesha Mena is P10. More yellow flags, and there goes Ika Baena.
Trying to go through, spinny, and Ika, his day goes from bad to worse, so just got swamped before the pit stops now. Last position after a spin at turn 3. So now the top two at the front, Conamure and Nardi Perez, have yet to come into the pit lane. Luke Smith with that lead by 0.4 of a second. 12 Caraton as well. And that's 2 tenths to come down the back straight away with the DRS operation. Carter goes right round the outside. Smith has the inside line and he's taken him. Smith's down into net P2.
Unbelievable. Alvaro Caraton getting the job done as Conor Muir and Nardi Perez come into the pit lane. This is now all for position. The lead changes with 10 laps to go. Luke Smith currently in P2. Caraton sits in P1 with Schlacker Clay in P3. Pookie for the first stop of the Grand Prix at 34.224 for the man from Hungary. 4 par now as we flick on over to Luke Smith once again. 4 tenths back on Alvaro Caraton as we head up towards here. Alvaro Caraton leading. Schlacker Clay is P3. That penalty I'm sure will get removed at the end of this Grand Prix. Patrick Sipos in P4. Kraft 5 tenths behind in P5 with Statchak in P6. Shanakinchi currently in P7. Mena is 8th with Ronhart in P9 and Pookie in the top 10. Of course, everyone's scoring points in the E-Series, so every point will count, which is why you're not seeing Thomas Harvey and Ika Baena pulling to the pits to retire the car. This is what you love to see. You want to keep this race going as long as possible, and Caraton is plugging away on Luke Smith, trying to get away as much as you can. You can see you losing all that ERS as much as you can, and Alvaro Caraton trying to break that DRS to make sure he's going to be the race winner at the end of this one.
Yeah, pushing as hard as possible now as they exit the last corner. And now up or down the long back straight. Now get that DRS open. He's still got it by 8 tenths of a second. And it's literally like you're throwing on a long fishing line and reeling in as fast as you can. And who's let on the brakes as well to close on the most speed? Luke's literally taking as much as he can. And he's gained around about 2 tenths as Ronhart makes a move on the inside of Modesto Mena. He's not going to be still behind him for another 5 laps.
Absolutely so. Job done for Thomas Ronhart. Caraton absolutely flying a 34.019 for the Spaniard as Luke Smith keeping that DRS behind, but just not enough in that distance to try and keep up to a manageable distance as Patrick Sipos is to Shanaka Clay even as they head up towards Sector 1 Delta into Sector 2. Does Patrick Sipos have anything up his sleeve? 4 tenths back, I'm sure he's not going to send it from here. Just happy to keep behind Shanaka Clay as they head up towards the line once again. 8 laps still to go in this Chinese Grand Prix. It is still Caraton who leads. It's got the second away from Luke Smith in P2. Clay is third with Patrick Sipos in P4. Alexander Kraft sits P5 with Statchak in P6. The times tumble and stumble away, but Thomas Ronald will flick on over to him now, plugging all the way on Shanakinchi as they head up towards the back straight once again, heading into the big braking zone there. Thomas Ronhart versus Shanakinchi. The future is battling right here, right now. Rounding in the final couple of corners comes Thomas Ronhart. We'll flick on over to the T-cam. Ronhart on the back of Shanakinchi. Does he want to make this move, or is he going to be stuck behind once again?
Have a look now. Gets the DRS open. 100 metres, 60 metres, 50 metres, 2, 1, go. 820 kilometres an hour. Comes to the inside. He's too far back to make one of those lunges, so we'll have to tee it up again to turn 1.
Absolutely so. He's going to have to wait a little while longer as Thomas Ronhart further up the grid. Patrick Sipos is closing in on Shanaka Clay. It just flickers between 3.5 tenths in towards turn number 1. And with Shanaka just getting the DRS off Luke Smith, not helping at all. And I'm sure Luke Smith might be under a lot of pressure from Shanaka Clay in this next DRS train, just with how he's managing this race. 1.5 seconds back on Alvaro Caraton so far, who Williams will now be going 4 for 4 in the PSGL E-Series with another Alvaro Caraton victory. He's been absolutely electric this season, have Williams, and so is Alvaro Caraton. Absolutely incredible once again to see him on the top step of the podium, unless something happens in these next 7 laps. Sipos closing away, and Shanaka Clay, a sense of overtake coming, maybe into the penultimate corner. Josh here, we could be seeing maybe even 3 wide.
I'm really hoping so. They're so close together. I said it could end up like this one as well. I'm on board with Patrick as well, as you're seeing the same pictures I am. He's getting so close in the braking zone. He's taking every single millimetre of line, and actually throw in as well. Alexander Kraft's right behind them. It could be a four-way fight down the straightaway. They're all going to have the DRS, and they're all going to be right on top of each other.
Absolutely so. Here we go with the DRS of Shanaka Clay. 5 tenths back. Might be a little bit of an ask to try and get through into the final couple of corners. He's going to have to look once again. Late braking. Nothing again, and there goes Ronha as well, and Shanaka Clay down the inside. There goes Thomas Ronha up into P7. Is there a switch back on from Janakinci? No, there's not. Up to P7 goes Thomas Ronha. His teammate is next with Piotr Stashnik as Modesto Mena fights back with Isvan Puki for P9 as well. 1 second back on Janakinci. Further up the road though, Shanaka Clay pushing on Luke Smith, and further back as well, Modesto Mena and Isvan Puki collide as well. Round the outside goes Puki. Can he get the job done? Might just his contact there.
Wingler gone as well for one of the Ferraris, and that's a game over for the pair of them, because that's going to be a horrible understeer now for the rest of the race, like 22-28. And that was silly. They both ran each other off the road there, but they couldn't back out. They were sort of locked in. That's the way turn one sort of filters into each other.
Absolutely.
He's going again, actually. Oh, yeah, look at the Alpha. Oh, wow.
Yeah, unfortunate moves being made. Modesto Mena just under the collar a little bit with that front wing damage. Will flick back over though to Shanaka Clay and Patrick Sipos, who still continue to battle. Alexander Kraft getting into this as well. Modesto Mena, I'm sure, might be having a look from the steward's room, and I'm sure it's going to be a very long night for FER from here as he rounds the right-hander once again. Alexander Kraft plugging away on Patrick Sipos. The DRS is in closing distance. Could this be another 3-wide moment that we've seen earlier on in the race? Here comes Luke Smith. You can see Shanaka Clay in the background, closing in and closing in and closing in still. Is he enough to make that move go? And he's going to look to it down the inside. Does dummy it as Thomas Ronha and Peter Slashnik will switch places. And up to P6 goes Thomas Ronha. 7 laps to go.
They're really pushing each other down. Just a minute down to 11th place as well. That's where I sort of put the old 2 seats for lunch out the car as well. Poor old Isvan Puki. Look at this. Shanaka Clay's going to try and go right round the outside. It's turn 1 on Luke Smith. Luke's going to have to keep the inside line. They just about avoid contact. And Shanaka Clay's up into 2nd position. Luke Smith trying with all his might. Can't do it. And he gets bumped by his teammate as well.
Absolutely incredible. Luke Smith losing a lot of position. Surely now is where they switch. Yes, they do. Luke Smith happy to give that one up. He's got to be careful. He doesn't lose to Kraft. Yes, they go. Down the inside goes Kraft. Losing a position again is Luke Smith. This crucial doesn't lose this now. Look at Ronha behind as well. A 10th and a half between them. Smith versus Kraft side by side with Ronha getting in the mix as well. Desperate for Kraft to get this move in. Desperate for Smith to get this move in. Down the inside he go. Here comes Ronha with a switchback move. Almost 3 wide there. Still side by side they go. Kraft goes running off the track, off the chicane. There goes Luke Smith. Screw goes right almost down the inside of Kraft. Ronha versus Kraft for P5 in this Grand Prix. Round the outside he will go once again. Still side by side they go. Ronha round the outside of Kraft trying to plug away as much as he can. Still they battle. Still they try something to try and get past each other. Lose for words here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Lap 23 of 28. Ronha with the outside line switches to the inside once again. Daniel Ricciardo style. Down the inside he goes. Ronha up into P5. His next target is Luke Smith. Just behind him. Kraft is not done yet.
It's not over yet. Cross comes to the inside line and takes him back away from Ronha. Ronha's out of position. Coming down the straight, but Kraft's got a penalty for that. He went off the track. Ronha's trying to go around the outside. Smith's been allowed to get a second ahead. Ronha around the outside towards turn number 1. And Kraft keeps on the inside line. Ronha's having to go the long way round. Look, he's Dutch. He can take it on the left-hand side. And on the inside, into turn 3. And still, Kraft holding it. Ronha with the power, with the racing line. Off goes Kraft. And Ronha's through into 5th.
Unbelievable racing in the PSGL series, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you take your Friday nights to watch this action here, right now. Thomas Ronha has gone from 20th on the grid to fight up 15 places into P5. 6 tenths back now on Luke Smith for P4. Could be P3 as well if he tries to close up to Patrick Sipos as well. The 2 race clutch drivers are just behind him, but I'm sure Luke Smith will try his absolute best to try and keep Ronha at bay as best as he can, as Alvaro Carreton is left to plug away by 3 seconds to Shanaka Clay in P2. Patrick Sipos is P3, as we just said. So is Luke Smith in P4. Thomas Runha in P5 as well, but he's very, very low on his ERS. 19% on that Haas F1 car. Race clutches Luke Smith currently up the field. He's down to 8% on the Alpines. We head up towards the final couple of corners once again to start that 25 or 28 cross with a little bit of a lock-up to Peter Stachnik in P7. It's all happening right here, right now. It's Luke Smith edging in and out of the DRS.
This is fantastic racing. Alan Marquez ahead of Modesto Bennett now. Harvey Cohen past Leroy Brown. And now, in all cars, I think just starting off a bit like that. Didn't see who it was. No one's ticked off on my monitor there, so I might lose my screen. But either way, Ron Haas closed back up to Luke Smith. Remember, Luke Smith's got a 1.4 second advantage down the straight. Ron Haas will, Alexander Kraft brought that back down to 4 tenths. Ron Haas got 7 lap old mediums, Luke Smith's 11 lap old mediums. He's going to be much, much slower. Ron Haas will have the better speed coming out the corners.
Absolutely so indeed, as Patrick Sipos closes in on Shanaka Clay as well. Luke Smith trying to sort of be a dummy to Patrick Sipos to keep Ron Haas behind, a little bit of a moving barrier, if you like, as we head up towards the final couple of laps then. 3 laps to go in the PSGL E-Series here on Friday nights. And it's Patrick Sipos in P3, Williams leader 1-2, Carroll in P1, Shanaka Clay is P2, Luke Smith in P4, Thomas Ron Haas sitting P5, half a second back on Luke Smith in Thomas Ron Haas in P5, and Alexander Kraft in P6, P7. Here we go once again. Thomas Ron Haas flicking over in the slipstream of Luke Smith as he's pried to the outside. Late break-in from the Dutchman around the outside goes Thomas Ron Haas. Luke Smith trying to force him off onto the curves. A little bit of a wobble from Thomas Ron Haas. Once again, Luke Smith trying all he can to help his teammates of Patrick Sipos in this Chinese Grand Prix. Ron Haas will get another attempt as we head up to the DRS and the DRS line around the outside. He dummies once again. Does the Dutchman. Side by side they go. Thomas Ron Haas on an overtaking masterclass here in China. The Flying Dutchman is here once again in P4. Thomas Ron Haas dispatches of Luke Smith in an amazing way once again. He finds the gap. He finds everywhere. Thomas Ron Haas up into P7 and now has 2 laps to catch up to Patrick Sipos.
I'll tell you what, if I ever need a dance partner, I'm going to call Thomas Ron Haas, the master of the tango with the double back he's done there. That's 3 times we've seen him do it in this race alone. Ron Haas up to 4th, may still get 2nd at this point. Nothing is out of the bag just yet. He's already closed in to around about a 2nd. Fantastic at the moment from Thomas Ron Haas, up to P4. Remember, started 20th on the grid.
Absolutely so. Dead last on the grid, currently up in P4, has a penalty, will be looked at the stewards. Obviously was in the pit lane, he did it, but still very, very interesting how the stewards will see that. We'll have a look at the penalties. Everyone in 3 seconds, apart from Thomas Harvey and Modesto Bennett with 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. Early Thomas Ron Haas in the DRS as we flip further on. There goes Patrick Sipos having a look on Shanaka Clay. Side by side they go, trying to get a good camera angle. Patrick Sipos down the inside. He goes and gets the better move. There goes Patrick Sipos to break the Williams 1-2. Shanaka Clay is still there around the outside. They still go side by side, but Patrick Sipos is there. Patrick Sipos up into P2 on the penultimate lap of the Chinese Grand Prix. That 27 of 28, Shanaka Clay and Patrick Sipos still come through. Left or right goes Clay. He goes to the left-hand side the long way round. Still side by side they go, but Patrick Sipos is there once again. And Patrick Sipos up into P2, which allows Thomas Ron Haas to get closer and closer to the podium.
Sipos is really just fantastic at the moment, isn't he? Brilliant side by side as they come through again. Just 3.6 seconds, so Alvaro Carreton has got this one in the bag with 2 to go. Ron Haas, though, can just smell that 2nd place. It's like just you've got fresh cookies put in front of you, and you just want to run after them and eat every single one of them as well. And it's very hard to resist. Someone get Ron Haas a glass of milk afterwards, you might need it.
Absolutely so. Maybe you'll win the Indy 500, we'll never know, in the E-Series, but Thomas Ron Haas has a lap and a half to try and catch up to Shanaka Clay in P3 for the chance for the podium. P2 is still on as well. Alvaro Carreton has absolutely bolted from this race. 3.5 seconds he has for Patrick Sipos in P2, and has been absolutely wondrous as he has been all the way through this season. And he is going to take another race victory, I'm sure, here at the Chinese Grand Prix. Thomas Ronhart once again closing in. Here comes Shanaka Clay as well. 2.5 tenths are on Patrick Sipos. Nothing going there. Once again, as we head over to the final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix, this is going to be an absolutely grandstand finish. Joshua Birch.
Really? Thank you very much. So, down there to the line, I'm watching Ron Hart. I really am, because he's going to be coming in. Oh, no! And another 3-second time penalty added on as well. That's going to be multiple points. They've got to look at the last corner. So I feel sorry for Quinton. It's going to be very busy now in the next couple of weeks. Shanaka Clay going to have to hold on. Look, here comes Ron Hart. You can't get rid of him. He is right on the back now, trying to go for a position. Oh, Josh, it's going to be fantastic. When's he going to do it? When's he going to strike? Is he going to be at turn 4? No. I would say back straight away. He at least wants a podium. He might get second.
Absolutely so. It's going to be the last lap dash for Thomas Ronhart. Shanaka Clay is closing in as well. If something happens between himself and Sipos, Thomas Ronhart could pick up something in P2. As he head round the final couple of corners, Luke Smith a second away. He's lost the DRS. Madeshra Mena faster lap on the soft compound tyres. 133.303 for him. Alvaro Carreton has bolted away from this race. He's going to win the Chinese Grand Prix. We'll flick on over to him in a minute. But this could be absolutely crucial. Patrick Sipos versus Shanaka Clay versus Thomas Ronhart. The final dance on the podium. Round the outside we will go. Thomas Ronhart in the station with Shanaka Clay. No DRS will be used. No ERS either. Thomas Ronhart, a last lap dash for the podium. They go side by side almost. Shanaka Clay versus Thomas Ronhart. Left to right he goes. Ronhart with another salsa dance down the inside. He gets the job done. The podium is there for Thomas Ronhart. We flick on over back to Alvaro Carreton. A brilliant try from him. Alvaro Carreton makes it 4 for 4 for Williams. He wins the Chinese Grand Prix. Crucially, it's Thomas Ronhart just about losing out. He takes P4. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Shanaka Clay, I'm sure, will take the podium from the penalties being removed. We flicked on over to Alvaro Carreton very, very quickly to see him take the flag. But Carreton wins. Patrick Sipos, I think, is P2. Shanaka Clay, I think, will be P3. Thomas Ronhart, last to P4. And such a good race from him. If you don't know him then, you'll know him now, because he's gone from last to P4 in the best team tournament you have on the F1 game. But surely all credit will go to Alvaro Carreton, who takes the race win. It's 4 for 4 for Williams. Carreton on top of the world once again.
Fantastic. Brilliant race. Absolutely fantastic, as Madeshra Mena crosses the line, finishes last anyway, so it'll be Akabenia who's got to wait for that. But, well, I want another one. Should we go again? That was brilliant. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Let's go again, right here, right now. We'll go for round 5 once again. Absolutely incredible. Miami next. Let's go right here, right now. Once again, of course. But what a result for Alvaro Carreton once again, making it 4 for 4 for Williams. They are having an absolutely incredible season. Driving Billy Thomas Ronhart, absolutely last to P4 there. Absolutely incredible race from everyone there. One of the best you will see this season in China. Lots of people do not like, well, a lot of the drivers don't seem to like the track. But that has caused an absolutely incredible race once again. Carreton wins with Patrick Sipos in P2 and Luke Smith in P3. Shanaka Clay holds on to P4 with Thomas Ronhart in P5 after penalties. This might chop and change, of course. Chanakinchi is 6th on the road with Alexander Krafts in P7. Stachelek takes P8 with Istvan Pukki in P9. Boilan Ferro in his last race for Parnell Racing takes it into the top 10 after 14th. A great drive from him. Cameron Dow's on debut as well. 5th to 11th. Just didn't really seem to flow his way, unfortunately, tonight. With Leroy Brown in P12. Harry Cohen from 17th to 13th did very, very well. For Veloce as well with Conor Muir in 14th. Nardi Perez sits 15th with Harlan Marquis in 16th. Drake Dempsey is 17th with Thomas Harvey in 18th. Madeshra Mena is 19th. And Ika Baena was 20th with the fastest lap of a 33.093. And Josh, I think we've probably seen race of the season so far.
Indeed. That was fantastic. China's usually boring. What happened? That was fantastic. What on earth was going on? So I was just looking at the lap times, everybody. Really fantastic race, that one. And I've gone dizzy. I really have. Honestly, such a great day of commentating on everything. I've done Formula 3, Formula 2, the 2 practice of Formula 1, now here at the esports. I've got the IndyCar practice on, but they've had so many red flags, there's really no point. Only 6 drivers have done lap times, so that's why I'm really doing qualifying and the race this year, because otherwise you just get pointless. But still, absolutely knackered. But what a way to go out on for tonight. Great racing, side by side, and it's nice to finally be able to commentate on in person some of the esport drivers as well, who are the upcoming stars, and especially with Thomas Wanhau as well. Last, what was it, third in the end? Fantastic. Beautiful. Fourth now, of course, but there might be some penalties being applied and not applied that we still don't know about. So, beautiful, beautiful race, beautiful race. Can't wait. And of course, John, people have been confused about which one's which. We're both pretty much identical at the moment for commentating.
Absolutely so. We're both identical in all our ways. Hopefully we can get a few interviews with our drivers there. We'll just play a quick ad for you and then we'll get to the interviews. If you do have any, stay tuned. We'll be with you for the podium interviews. Welcome back then to the PSGL E-Series, waiting on a few of our drivers to come in for an interview if we are having on any as well. But Josh, that probably, we've just been saying there, that's probably one of the drives we'll see in PSGL E-Series for a long, long time.
Indeed, that was fantastic, and I'd even rival it was the best race we've had this week, to be fair, even topping the F1. So sorry to Jack and George about that one. That was absolutely fantastic for what we've seen tonight. I'm really hoping all those young. Is that Yana or me? Only to how the drivers complained. Yana. But still, absolutely fantastic, Josh. And I'm really hoping we're going to see some really strong racing now for the rest of the season. Because you said, where's next? Where are we going next?
We are Miami next time. Miami.
Well, Miami's been a bit of an interesting one. I think the esport drivers enjoy it a lot, but it didn't create great F1 racing, but it is creating good esport racing. That's what I've been finding from the ones we've done. So Miami's going to be fun. And I think, what is it, 4 from 4 now for Williams. It's just absolutely insane to keep that up. So, good run and great racing, side-by-side battles. I must admit, Cameron Downs, I think it can go away as he's sort of been the one constant across the F1, the F2, and now E-Series as well. He can go away knowing he's done a very proud week as well. And fantastic drive, fantastic racing, and I'm very much looking forward to see what he can do in the future. He's going after the F2 title, so it's going to be even better. But I know Luke Smith joined us now, so I'm going to let you take it away, Josh.
Absolutely. Luke Smith joins us in the chat for this one. Luke, it's a podium for you on track so far, but it's definitely probably a good one to get that off your shoulders today.
Yeah, I think especially considering the poor qualifying, certainly not my proudest moment. Considering that, I certainly had the pace for Q3. Like that was, to me, that wasn't a question. It's just getting the lap in at the right time. But yeah, a lot of that race was just about staying out of trouble, trying to kind of manage the situation as it came, really, because obviously with being on much older tyres than the other people, it was really just about firstly trying to help Patrick, who I'm going to call out for not wanting to do a double interview, by the way. And yeah, I think it was mainly just about trying to basically work together. Like, for example, if I needed DRS to defend from someone behind, he would slow up a little bit. So yeah, that's we had good teamwork today. Feel like I could have maybe done a little better on my side, but still not displeased with that result.
Absolutely.
And if I can just, can I just jump in? Sorry, I just want to ask you. I said that you were my pick a winner for today as well. Starting 11th on the grid. got up into their fantastic drive as well. How are you acclimatising into the series? Are you liking the feel of it? Liking the good spirits that is around? It's pretty much all friendly from what I've seen. Everyone's been very polite with each other from what I've seen tonight. It's hard racing, but it's fun racing. Are you enjoying it yourself?
Well, it's always going to be aggressive racing that you're going to get. Obviously, at the top of the league racing scene, you're going to have people who are very competitive to prove themselves, and also like some established names like that kind of need to keep their reputation up almost. And I think in general, it is like there is always clean racing. Like there's always just enough space left, which is, to be honest, the best kind of racing. Obviously, it's a little bit different as well, considering like with the kind of team element as well. It's not going to be just racing for yourself, but racing for yourself and your teammate almost. So it's not necessarily about you going for, say, P5 and P6, or it's not necessarily about going for, P5 and P8 as a team, but more P5 and P6, as for example. Obviously, you want to still be getting 1-2, but you get what I mean.
I do. Glad you're enjoying it. Glad it's being fun as well. I'll hand back over to Josh because I think we're joined by Snacker Clay.
Luke Smith, just very very quickly from you. Obviously, it's Miami next week as well. If you are picked for race coach, do you think you can continue that good performance forward?
I haven't done a league race at Miami in a long time actually. So I guess that'll be a bit of a wild card track for me. Could be good, could be bad. But yeah, we'll see how the pace is, and hopefully it's pretty good and good enough to finally top all those Williams guys.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Luke. We'll see you for the next one. And massive congratulations for you today.
Thank you. GG Shalaka, by the way.
Thank you very much to Luke Smith there. We are also joined by Shanaka Clay as well. Josh, I'll let you go from there.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, what a race you had out there today. Loads of battles side by side and some breathtaking manoeuvres as well. Difficult qualifying as well, Inters to wets. Just talk us through, did you not fancy a run out there on Inters when the rain started to come down, when it was a bit psychological in Q1?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely on our mind, but we had to commit to the wet tyres in the end, and yeah, it was important in Q1 to get that lap in early. Yeah, it would have been maybe a good idea to go out and get a bit of experience on the Inters, but like Harvey had a little bit of a go, but yeah, it didn't seem to cost us too much in the end. It was just the battery usage at the end of Q3 that cost me potential pole, if not definite front row of the grid. Having to just clipping a little bit at the end of that session, so a bit of a shame that we couldn't lead from the front like that, but eventually we got into a good position during the race anyway.
And talking about the end of the race as well, battling for 2, 3, 4, in 5th position as well. You were right in the mix of it, side by side, fair racing, hard racing. It was enjoyable for us in the commentary box as well. Finishing P3 ahead of Thomas Ronha. Just talk us through your perspective of those last 2 corners, because Ronha did the switchback on you, came on the inside, and you got the drive at the exit and managed to stay alongside and get ahead. What was your feeling during the last couple of corners?
Yeah, it was exciting for sure, and it was nice that we kept it all clean, so GG's to him for that. But that's one of Ronha's trademark moves, so I was expecting him to do that 100%. So I left him the room on the inside, but not enough room for him to get a good drive. So we kept it nice and fair, but yeah, I think he needs to come up with a different move because he keeps on doing the same one on the last lap of these races. So yeah, I mean, I was expecting it, and we came out on top this time. So, but you know, he had a mega drive coming from the back of the grid, so yeah. GG's there that.
And as Josh said as well earlier, Miami next week. Are you ready for that track as well? I mean, it's a new one on the F1 calendar. We've done a couple of races on PSGL, and the other series have done it as well. But are you confident with that track? Do you feel you can go well?
It's not a track I have a lot of experience at, but I can say the same for Zandvoort. I can say the same for China, and you know, it's turned out pretty well so far this season. So you know, we'll get our heads down and work out the track. Alvaro's very quick there as well, so I have a good reference point there. But yeah, should be good. Hopefully next week.
Fantastic. I'll hand back over to Josh.
Josh, Shanaka, no more questions from you there, but it's 4 for 4 from Williams. Massive congratulations, and we will see you next week.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much to Shanaka Clay there. That is pretty much brings us to the end of the stream. I think that's, no one else in for an interview. But Josh, just final thing to wrap us up there. That was pretty good for our standards.
Very good indeed. Very fast, very clean. A couple of incidents with Modesto Mena and Esteban Puki as well towards the end of the race, but they just started driving into each other. Aggressive racing, definitely fun, and I think we've got something here, a little bit of a niche setup as well. It's very good, the E-Series, of how to actually race. Every point matters, every position matters as well, the team aspect of it as well, and I like it. I've commentated on something similar before, but this actually works really, really well, and everyone's behind it. Some of the best drivers in the world are in it as well. It's absolutely brilliant. I'm very happy that I've been able to commentate with you tonight, Josh, as well, and to everybody watching as well. Hope you've all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to, hopefully I can be here again, and I'll look forward to F2 next week as well, when I get back and put in my box with Richie. But Josh, thanks for coming. I'll hand back over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Josh. It's been an honour to commentate over you tonight. But that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's stream. Thank you all very much for watching tonight. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe if you want more content over on the PSGL. We are back once again next week at Wednesday for the PSGL F1 series. I think we are at Bahrain, if my mind is mistaken there. But I'm sure we will get commotion from that. But we are back in a while next week on Friday for the Miami Grand Prix, as we have just seen us there. Thank you all very much as well to our moderators for keeping us all respectful. Thank you, Tiano, as well for the unnecessary comment. But we will continue there. Thank you all very much for watching. We will see you next week at the Miami Grand Prix. Take care, stay respectful, and we will see you later. Good night.